about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics. Harambe YouTube and happy Juneteenth. I hope you enjoyed the extra videos today. I usually only post one video a day, but today I posted around 6 or 7 celebrating Juneteenth. Talking about my history with the holiday, how it made me a musician, how I have become part of the local tradition here, and also featuring comic books and nerd culture featuring black protagonists and characters. And we're going to finish off the slate of videos today with, I think, probably one of my favorite current comics featuring black characters, and that is Bitterroot, the next movement. We are currently on issue number 3. I am newer to this series. I think I got a reissue of number 1 of the previous series. And I got into the next movement here from the first issue, and I am really enjoying it. This takes place some years after the original. It's this family of African American monster hunters. These monsters, Jinnu, are fueled by racism. And it takes place right in the middle of the civil rights era and that movement. And what I think it does brilliantly is blend historical events and people with fiction. And in a way, it makes very difficult subjects to talk about more palatable. And it shines them in a lens of fantasy, yet they still are presented as they were. It's a great balance. You can tell that the writers took great pains to not only make it entertaining, fun, and action-packed, but in a sense grounded and poignant, which is an insane balance to try to keep between fantasy and reality. But they do it in the way that that the locals, they're this monster hunting team, they are looking for Jinnu, and the official line of the government is that these monsters are no more, but they're still very much alive. And they had, in issue number 1, attacked a bus of Freedom Riders, and this is in 1964. And the Freedom Riders were real people, and many of them were murdered in this way, not by fantastical monsters, but by human monsters who wanted to suppress their voices. And so again, it's a way of taking something real and heartbreaking and adding a fantasy element to it to give you a little bit of history mixed with a little bit of fantasy. And one thing I really love about these characters as well is that in a time where these characters are where black people were expected to be meek and passive, uh, these people, they are confident, they are brilliant, they are technically advanced, and they know it. And so they really don't pay too much time to racists, not because it's about being mean, but because they truly have better things to do with their time than to placate racists. And that's one dynamic I love, especially this character, Mariah. She reminds me a lot of my mother in that my mom was very, very honest to a point of being rude, but it was never meant maliciously. It was just that she had better things to do than argue with a fool. And if you got hurt because of what she said, that wasn't her problem. And you have her, and you have this FBI agent who works for them, who works with them, and he's kind of the liaison between them and the government, and he's dealing with a partner who believes that the Jinnu are not active and that these black characters are being uppity, so to speak. And I love her interactions with him because he comes at her with that um, passive aggressive racism, and she barely acknowledges him while completely acknowledging him, if you know what I mean. And the action is brilliant, bloody, and brutal. And the way that it's drawn, it really is drawn in a 60s, 70s style with the hairstyles and with the fashion. And I love, again, I've said this before, when you have black people consulting and even drawing the art, because so many times with the major companies, you will have one character that looks like another character that looks like another character. Um, I swear, like with Jace Fox, the next Batman, he looks just like 3 or 4 Marvel characters. He looks just like Night Thrasher, and they have the same facial structure, the same box cut, and you can tell that we're not written from a place of reality, but from perception. And here you have the whole array of blackness and body types and skin tones and hairstyles. And you have a lot of plots going on. The frustration, the argument between the FBI agents, between the FBI and this family, and it is just great stuff. And the family and the local sheriff's department, who, while they want to get to the bottom of the murders, they're not really ready to face the truth about these murders and these attacks, and that these monsters are people who are corrupted by hate. And I think that is probably the most important part of this, is that hate can take a normal person and turn them into a monster. And while the monsters that we see and that we deal with in life, they aren't literal snarling monsters. They are monsters nonetheless to do monstrous things. And also, like I said, the way that they teach history, there's a reference to one of these people losing family in the Tulsa Massacre. And that's a story that is just now coming to light. And thank goodness, finally, the surviving family members are finally getting some restitution 100 years later from that horrible event. So check it out. Bitterroot, the next movement. We're at issue number 3 right now. It's still early enough where you can get into it, and there's still lots of story to tell. And if you can get 1, 2, 3, I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. It's a slick looking book, and it's very cleverly and smartly written. And they do a great job of illustrating emotion and attitudes and saying a lot without words, but in the art itself. The creative team behind this is David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green. Those are the creators. Matt Herms did the coloring. Hassan Otsmani Elahu did the lettering. I know I messed up that name. Shelley Bond is the editor. John Jennings, the Bitter Truths editor. Drew Gill, design and production. Ian Bertram did the variant cover B. And Brian Lee O'Malley did the variant cover C. This has a whole team of people who you can tell are passionate about the material, and they've been detail oriented, keeping it fun while keeping it informative and grounded. So that's been my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this slate of Juneteenth programming I provided to this channel. Go ahead and check out the previous videos. And Saturday, the day that a lot of cities do their big Juneteenth celebrations, I'm going to be doing a special unboxing. It's an action figure I bought when I first started collecting. And I decided after a while, you know what? I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to open it. But I was looking for an occasion, a reason, some time to open it. And I figured, why not open it in, celebration of Juneteenth, because it is a very pivotal and important black comic book character. That's all I'm going to tell you. Stay tuned Saturday for that video. And we're going to be getting back to one video a day. I recorded a few videos already. Another edition of Judge a Book by its cover, and another review of a book that, just came out. And I'm going to be doing a review of a classic Catwoman here soon. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep reading them books. I'm out.